And in my opinion, the best way to fix that is actually the bedroom. Because the bedroom's this interesting place where a woman wants to be in her feminine polarity, and she wants the man to be in his masculine polarity. She's getting her rocks off in the bedroom by you being that dominant, aggressive lover, that passionate lover. It's a positive reinforcement of that dynamic of her being submissive and you being dominant. Tristan came to me like a year ago and was like, yo, there's this thing going on with Andrew's lung. And obviously we said we don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it publicly. Andrew's not the kind of guy who would talk about it anyway. Right. He's a real tough son of a bitch. Goal is 2 women pregnant and saved up enough cash on the side to buy a homestead. That is the goal before the end of the year. Tell me what you enjoyed the most about last night. And then she can, in her own words, say, I love, I have one such example from an ex. I love the way you weren't afraid to hurt me was like her exact word. There's a reason why they, in Islam, I believe there's like 2 or 3 women to like 1 man's testimony in these kind of situations. If people don't like you, they don't like you. They're not going to change their fucking perceptions of you just because you could give people as much concrete evidence and proof as you want, and they will, if they don't like you, they will stick to their guns, and nothing you can tell them is going to change their opinion of you if they don't like you.
Been almost 2 years since we last,
yeah, it actually has been 2 years since we sat down and talked.
Yeah.
That was right at the beginning of me diving into all this crap.
Yeah.
Like the YouTube and talking about stuff and people listening to me talk about stuff.
Yeah. All the so what made you like interested in like speaking about the red pill and in the manosphere after moving out of like the porn industry?
I mean, it started off with guys just asking me for advice, honestly, about like, hey, I can't get my dick hard. How can I get over this issue? I'm busting too early. It was really just started there. And I was red pilled as well. So it was like those 2 things combined. And it was, honest to God, like I couldn't talk about my opinions for 5 years in the industry. Because the industry is super woke.
Yeah.
Like the porn industry is incredibly left-leaning, liberal, SJW, libtard wokeness. Like California.
Well, Newport though, this spot is actually super nice.
This spot seems quite nice.
It's like everyone here is Republican. I told them like we're gonna see Trump flags. We're gonna see Trump flags everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, and we drove under this bridge. People holding Trump flags everywhere still.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's sick.
Like it's like Trump territory because it's clean and it's nice.
Yes. Yeah.
So it feels nicer and feels safer and cleaner and it's like respectable.
Yeah.
Not like, dude, like you go up into the valley, you go up into like downtown Los Angeles, it's just like trash.
It's so trash. Is this your first time in Newport?
It actually is, yeah. Oddly enough.
Yeah.
I forget how fucking enormous Los Angeles is. Like it's from here to like the valley is like a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's like that's horrible. No thank you.
Have you tried surfing it or no?
I surfed a little bit back in Australia, but I'm not really into surfing.
Okay, cool.
I think I'd have to give my passport up if I didn't surf.
Okay, nice. And so wait, what caused you to move over to Spain?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. It's happening in about 2 weeks,
okay.
actually. In about 2 weeks. I actually went out there in October last year for 2 months doing a fight camp. So I was training for my first amateur boxing match. Did that white card, I should say, technically white card boxing match. Did that, loved it, loved the Marbella specifically, the little kind of beach town, loved it. Great group of war room guys there, real good community of guys there. Great personal trainer I have out there, and it's not a city. It's like a quiet beach town kind of, and everyone's healthy, and I don't know. I like that Mediterranean lifestyle. I like Europe, so I want to actually live in Europe for a change because I've never actually officially lived in Europe for an extended period of time, and I got a couple of girls out in Europe, so it's baby making time this year.
No way, yeah, because Justin said you're gonna start making some kids. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's the plan. The goal is 2 women pregnant and enough money to buy and saved up enough cash on the side to buy a homestead. That is the goal before the end of the year.
Nice. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Raw milk, cows, chickens, the whole.
Yeah, dude. My parents are doing that right now, and they're still in California, but they're up in where the mountains are. They have all the chickens, raw milk. All the little fucking rabbits and shit.
It's the way to go, I think. Yeah. I think we're going to see a return to that. I really do.
Yeah.
Because everyone I know who's worth a lot of money and is switched on about kind of the way the world is going right now, and they're not super optimistic on it. They're all prepping with like a homestead and buying land and trying to secure the future for their family. And I think that's the correct thing to do.
Right. And what are some things you're doing with the war room now? Are you still helping out with the war room? Like, what's happening with the war room with Andrew and him in jail?
Bro,
what's happening?
It runs perfectly fine.
Nice.
Like Andrew's built an incredible machine in the war room, and it runs like a smooth, well-oiled precision machine, man. It doesn't stop. Obviously he's the master and commander of it, but everyone else within the organization, they have their role, they know what they're doing, they execute. They're all really competent guys. Like events still happening everywhere around the world. despite the boys being, unjustly incarcerated right now.
Right.
But, God bless, they'll get out soon enough, and we can go back on with conquering the world.
When's the last time you talked to Andrew?
For his birthday in December.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're hanging out with him for his birthday in Dubai, and yeah, it was good. Good
Nice.
times.
Yeah, I was texting you and you're like, it's like 4 a.m. where I'm at. I was like, what the fuck? Where you at?
Yeah.
In Dubai.
Bro, I travel too much these
Yeah.
days, and it's just keeping track of time zones, keeping in touch with people, and like not sending a text message when they're asleep at like 3 a.m. becomes challenging.
Yeah, for sure. And then what do you know about the situation with Andrew right now? Because all my fans are asking me like, dude, you gotta ask Sterling about Andrew because you're friends with him, you're best friends with him. So
Yeah, I mean thank God that we got the report about the tumor that was in his lung, and it's not cancerous, which is really, really good. So we didn't even know that. Like, so basically, what the deal with that, and there might be a bit of confusion on Twitter because I tweeted out some stuff without full knowledge, so it confused a bunch of people. So Tristan came to me like a year ago and was like, "Yo, there's this thing going on with Andrew's lung," and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And obviously we said we don't want to talk about it. Don't talk about it publicly. Cool, whatever. Obviously Andrew's not the kind of guy who would talk about it anyway.
Right.
He's a real tough son of a bitch. So that happened, and then Sartorial Shooter was taking him to the hospitals in Dubai, seeing a bunch of specialists and stuff, and none of us knew that he'd had the biopsy on his lung that the doctors had recommended until it was released like a couple of days ago.
Sheesh.
Luckily, it came back with the report that it's not cancerous. That's really, really fantastic news. So that's fine. There was reports that he'd lost a bunch of weight. He'd lost like 10 kilos. That's probably because he's not eating tomahawk steak every day, and he's eating prison food. So it's not cancer that's caused him to lose a bunch of weight. It's literally just shit prison food.
Yeah, 100%. Deal. That's good though. Freaking, I know a lot of guys are worried about it, but yeah.
It's really nice to see how many people are like speaking up and supporting him, and making that voice heard, because we still need that. I mean, it's unfortunate that we feel kind of powerless in terms of what we can actually practically do, because it's very much within Romania and Dicot's control to like keep them there as long as they want. But we all know the truth. We know the truth that these women lied about these allegations, and they fooled everybody, and hopefully the Romanians will realize that very, very quickly, and release the boys and let justice be served. And maybe then we can actually go after these women who've made false allegations, and maybe bring down the justice. But heaven forbid that ever happens. But
yeah, that never happens. Yeah. Do you think? Well, has that ever happened to you, like specifically? Because I remember when I was getting canceled, I told you about that. Like some girls that I used to fuck with trying to cancel me, and you too as well. So
yeah, I've had a couple of instances where I've had women and oddly enough, it was one in the industry actually. Basically make outlandish false claims about either me doing something inappropriate on set, or like using some content we shot together without her permission, even though there was like like a model release and mutual use of the content and stuff like that. And I don't wish that on any man, by the way, because it's horrible. Like to have an allegation like that, and it's literally just your word versus her word. And as we know, most of the time, it's believe all women. The guy gets kind of the raw end of the stick a lot of the time. And until you've kind of gone through that as a guy, you don't really have you can't really sympathize with the situation these guys are in right now, because it's fucking horrible. Absolutely horrible to have your integrity and morals questioned in that regard. And all you can really do is just speak the truth and hope that people, come to reason.
Right. And usually when they push the girls to like get more evidence, it's like usually the girls will stop. At one point they kind of give up, and then they're like, oh, it's no big deal, they just don't really have much like substance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why in Islam, I believe there's it's like 2 or 3 women to like one man's testimony in these kind of situations. Because like people might ask like, oh, why would a woman ever lie about this, bro? Like, look at this one girl who's in the Tate case right now. There's a history of this. She literally like one of her ex-boyfriends self-deleted himself, like got rid of himself because she made allegations like this. Another one is in jail, and I think I might be getting confused. Either him or another one is actually trying to sue her for the false allegations. She's got a history of this. Like she ran away from her parents and stuff, and like it's just a pattern consistently again and again and again.
Any guy with common sense would be like, oh, okay, we know these type of girls. Like
Yeah,
we've met these types of girls. I've dealt with these types of girls. You've dealt with them. Yeah, these girls are all fucked up. They just want to make your life miserable.
Yeah, I mean, people love attention. Women love attention. Guys will especially blue-pilled guys will seriously underestimate what a woman will do just for attention, for her 15 minutes of fame, and for a feeling of vindication. For like, hell hath no fury like the wrath of a woman scorned. If you make a woman like annoyed, you would be shocked the lengths she will go to try and ruin you, and with no moral framework around it, complete fabrications and lies, just because she feels a certain way.
Right. And definitely the girls freaking, it's wild. It's definitely wild. I've seen it happen to guys in my school as well. Like, girls will just say shit, and it's kind of that position where you put a guy where he has to, like, really stand up for himself, or he has to back down, make an apology video. And for me,
apologizing never works.
No, never works. That's why I'm like, dude, you can't negotiate with terrorists. Like, it just doesn't work. You lose. You lose.
100%, man. And any guys watching this, if you ever go through something like this, rule number one is just don't fucking apologize. Do not fucking apologize. Because there's two things here. One, like, your apology doesn't do anything. All it does is all the apology does is, like, make people think you were guilty in the first place, right? And the second thing, you might apologize because you think you're trying to appease people or change their perceptions of you. If people don't like you, they don't like you. They're not going to change their fucking perceptions of you just because you could give people as much concrete evidence and proof as you want, and they will if they don't like you, they will stick to their guns, and nothing you can tell them is going to change their opinion of you if they don't like you.
Right. And it's a major shit test too. Like, they're always shit testing just to see your strength and just to see if you have the balls or not to stand up for what you believe in and who you are.
It's a pretty dark shit test.
It is. It's a bad shit test, but it is what it is. But you see girls do it right when guys become successful. It's like Trump. They do it to Trump. They do it to Andrew. Anytime a guy becomes successful,
Brett Kavanaugh,
Johnny
Depp. Like, there has been so many examples of this in the last 6 to 8 years. You would think people would have caught on to this by now, but apparently people still get away with this bullshit.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the pragmatic question that the audience wants to know is what can guys do to protect themselves from things like this happening?
Right. It's a very good question. So, I'm of the opinion that guys, you need to kind of document as much evidence as you possibly can get.
Yes.
In terms of text messages are really good, video voice notes, videos from her and stuff like this. And I know personally one of the things I will do is if I've had a good time with a woman and let's say, for example, she wanted me to do things that were a bit more extreme in the bedroom, right? BDSM, kinky stuff, right?
Record it.
No, don't record it without her consent and without a model release. Definitely do not do that. Terrible advice. What you should do instead is, one of the things I will always text a girl, we've had an experience like that, is tell me what you enjoyed the most about last night. And then she can, in her own words, say, I love, I have one such example from an ex. I love the way you weren't afraid to hurt me, was her exact words. Her exact words, verbatim. Yep. And there's a reason you have to document this stuff, and we've seen this with the Andrew stuff as well. A lot of simps and Bluepill guys
they don't fathom that that's true.
They cannot comprehend a woman wanting that to be done to her, because they've never had a woman want that from them, because they're not that kind of guy. A woman won't submit to any man, or they won't submit to every man. But the right guy comes along and she wants him to do, a lot of the time she will want him to do some pretty perverse stuff to her. And yeah, a lot of these simpy Bluepill dudes, white knights, have got no clue about the dark nature of female sexuality.
Yeah, I was talking to Justin about that as well. It's same thing with when guys talk to your girl about you talking to other girls, trying to get their approval, because they can't fathom that you can manage multiple girls and not give a fuck about them caring. And so simps will be going to your girl, texting your girl, oh yeah. Justin's with another chick. Why aren't you getting upset? It's bro, because he's a G. It is what it is. And I've had so many guys do that to my girls who had Instagrams, right? They go and hop in their DMs, send him pictures of me with another girl, and my girl's like, what is this? And she'll just laugh at him, thinking because it's funny, because it's the guy trying to get laid. It's the guy trying to seek her approval.
That's all it is, man. It's weasel game is what it is. It's this weaselly fucking energy of a dude trying to snake his way into some vagina. And women can see that clearly.
Yeah.
that this guy's a piece of shit, and this guy's a scumbag, and that repulses her. Does not make her want to suck his dick.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse boner or whatever the female equivalent of that would be. It's horrible for them.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they can see right through the bullshit, but I think it's because these simps have been told this, like, yeah, beat the evil, toxic guy and you'll get the girls, and they think that, like, yeah, but it doesn't work.
Bro, that's literally what's brainwashed into young men from childhood, man. Like, through every piece of, like, media, rom-coms, movies, like, sitcoms and stuff like that, it's all designed, it's all so deliberately misleading for guys, like, telling them, like, oh, just be that nice guy, and eventually, once she's done banging all these bad boys, she's gonna come around to you. Fuck off! She's not gonna come around to you because you're a loser. Like you're too nice, and you don't understand female nature. You don't understand what excites her, what gets her, wet between the legs. You've got no clue, and everything you've been taught is a complete lie, and it does the exact opposite. It dries pussies up quicker than that's how it is.
Well, they will come back when they're 40 years old, 50 years old, and they have 4 cats, 4 children from 4 different baby daddies. They'll come back to those dudes seeking for money.
They'll come back to them, but they'll still hate them. They'll still resent them. They'll come back to them, and they'll drip feed them pussy. They'll drip feed them a little bit of poon every now and then, just to try and get, like, any kind of supplication from the guy. They can get any, like, cash or, like, servitude, get him to do shit for her, like, just putting up with her bullshit. Because she knows she can just dangle that vagina in front of him and he'll do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah, so in a situation like that, how does a guy go about switching the dynamic around?
So, well, first of all, he needs to understand that there's a fucked up dynamic in the first place. Yeah. And prevention's better than cure, man, if you don't want to get into that situation in the first place. Now, I do realize there are, like, your audience is obviously mostly younger guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think many of your young guys are going to have this problem because they're going to, they're going to be red-pilled from an early age, and they're going to understand that's the wrong dynamic. This is not the case with a lot of older dudes who kind of discover, like, true female nature and red pill later on into their life. So they might have already been in a relationship that's a bad dynamic to start with, right? Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, the best way to fix that is actually the bedroom, because the bedroom's this interesting place where a woman wants to be in her feminine polarity, and she wants the man to be in his masculine polarity. And if you can introduce that and lead that dynamic in the bedroom as the guy, by being a bit more dominant, by being in control, telling her what to do, being more seductive, that can start that will present a correct masculine and feminine polarity in that dynamic in the bedroom, right? And that can start to then manifest itself outside the bedroom. If she's getting her rocks off in the bedroom by you being that dominant, aggressive lover, that passionate lover, then if she's getting climaxes from that, it's a positive reinforcement of that dynamic of her being submissive and you being dominant. And then lo and behold, magically, she stopped whinging about you taking out the trash. Like she's cooking and cleaning again. I've seen this happen from guys who've come to me for advice, and it isn't that complicated once the dynamic is correct. Women love to serve a man they respect. They love to serve a man they are in love with. And it's they fall in love with you through doing things to you, or for you, rather, I should say. By doing nice things for you, that's when they actually fall more and more in love with you. It's not people get it backwards. It's not, oh, she fell in love with him because he showered her with gifts and he flew her out to Dubai and he did this and that. That's not why she fell in love with him.
Yeah, girls want to earn your time and attention, and it makes them feel way better. And everyone's gonna value it when you actually work for something, you get something in return. Like, and that's especially with girls, is like, it's just how you gotta do it. If you give a puppy like, treats for no reason just because it's cute, it's gonna be like, it's not gonna want to do anything more than just sit there and do nothing. So,
man, it's you get canceled for making that comparison.
But it's true. It's so true.
But and by the way, there are a bunch of books on Amazon doing the opposite, like literally like women teaching other women how to treat their men like dogs, train their men like dogs. Those are all perfect. You can buy all of those on Amazon right now, and they're not like banned or restricted.
It's
material.
my turn to make a book, but for guys,
you go right ahead, man. Myron Gaines just dropped his one. You see that?
Yeah.
Why women deserve less. That thing is like a walking. I love that because that's a good example of guerrilla marketing. That is that book in itself. You put that out on a coffee table anywhere, or you read that in public, that is marketing in and of itself. It's amazing.
It's definitely good, for sure.
Yeah, so you're saying women fall in love by performing tasks for you. In your life, obviously, like you live a lot more lavish lifestyle than some of us. What sort of tasks do you give your women to complete for you?
I mean, if it's basic stuff that I need done around the house, you know, like I primarily try to get women to do things that I hate doing, like folding laundry.
Yep.
Laundry,
I can't stand stuff like that, like cooking and cleaning. But for me, one of the biggest green flags is actually when a woman does that stuff for me unprompted.
Mm.
You know, like I'll get up in the morning and she's like making breakfast, or she's cleaning. I go to the gym and I come back and she's cleaned the house, or she's literally like scrubbed the toilet bowl or something like things like this that are completely unprompted. It's a good sign for me that she's trying to win my affection over in the first place.
Right.
And she was raised correctly as well. It's that too. Mm-hmm. But some women will need, if you can't find that really, really good blueprint, because they are hard to find, or harder to find now than they used to be. Right. If you can't find that, then you do need to like teach your woman how she can earn your love. And you can start with really basic things. Actually, one of the cheeky things I used to do. I don't do it anymore because I'm a very actually, it's a fucking lie. I still do it. So one of the things I will do on like the second, if I say I've had sex with a girl already, like first date, second date, whatever, then the next time I invite her around to my place, I'll like do a load of laundry and I'll leave the laundry like on the bed, like clean but unfolded, so that when it comes time to like have sex, it's like, oh babe, like, can you just take care of that for me?
Nice.
And so she'll fold the laundry, something I hate doing. So she'll fold up my clothes, put them away, and then she gets rewarded with sex afterwards because we can fuck on the bed now.
It's a good setup.
It's a little cheeky little setup, but it things like that are a subtle way for you to introduce that dynamic with your partner, and ultimately it's a good one. Any feminist watching this is gonna be like, that's horrible, but no one likes you anyway because you're a feminist. So.
Yep, 100%. Good. Do you have any like advice or suggestions for like young guys, like my audience specifically?
Man, learn how to make money. Learn how to. This is something that I did wrong in my early 20s, if I'm being honest. Like when I have a son, or sons, I should say, I will be teaching them this. But in your early 20s, or even late teens, learn skills that can make you money long term. Like the more skills you can stack up that other people that can solve problems for other people, save them time, save them energy, save them money, the more valuable you are going to be as a man as you get older, right? Don't expect to like make millions of dollars on some fucking crypto pump when you're 18. Like, so it happens, but that's not the norm. The norm for a successful guy is like he spent his 20s building up skills that are monetizable and becoming comfortable being uncomfortable, developing his tolerance to stress. If you can master that, if you can master stress tolerance and making money, or solving problems is something else I should say there. Solving problems is massive. If you're a problem solver, you're always useful to somebody. Like that for me, as a guy who runs a business, employs lots of dudes. The number one thing I'm looking for is like, if something cocks up in my business, because stuff is always going to go wrong, can I just give it to a guy and he can take care of it, rather than so that frees up my time, my energy to focus on the bigger picture of my business, right? So developing skills, learning to be a problem solver, and developing tolerance to stress. 3 super useful things for you to focus on as a young man, which will guarantee you're successful. Guaranteed.
You have any questions?
Yeah, so I want to ask a little bit about what you're doing for business, like what sort of things you have going on. Like I'm guessing YouTube is one of those.
Yeah, I mean YouTube and Twitter are actually like part of my funnel. Is the correct way to say it. Yep. Like so that funnels people into my email list and to my products and things, my info products, where I make most of my money. I also have a supplement line coming out. I also dabble in crypto and I invest in gold, and I have another YouTube channel coming out soon about like travel and digital, learning how to, I guess, live the digital nomad lifestyle of like different residencies, relocating overseas, understanding, how banking works in different places, like lots of different little subtle things that I've accumulated over the course of my young life, which most people aren't aware of. I've lived a bit more of a nomadic international life than most people, so it's something I can easily teach people. So that's coming around. What else we got? Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the main ones.
Do you see yourself like creating content and like videos forever, or what do you see?
No, honestly, I see myself, retiring not retiring, but like building a homestead and drinking raw milk and having orgies with all my beautiful women.
Nice.
And pumping out a ton of babies is what I see myself doing more so than anything else. obviously I will continue to make money in any way I can, because I think like while you can make money, you should always be making money, and because if you stop doing that, if you stop striving for that, you're gonna kind of die a bit inside as a man. But my intention is in the next 5 or so years is to transition more towards like building a literal homestead base for like my immediate family and like future generations of my kids and stuff. Like I'm thinking like long-term kind of sustainability and health for my family, because I think a lot of people, the modern world poisons you.
Yeah.
Quite literally, especially as a man. It really, there's a reason that testosterone levels have been declining year on year on year for like 50 years. Like we're literally half the men that our grandparents were, which is really fucking sad. And a large part of that is the food we eat, the environment we're in, and I consider it my job as the patriarch of my family to correct that, so that my kids don't have to go through that and my grandkids don't have to go through that, and I can reverse the damage that's been done.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm really trying to hone in on my group of guys is they're young, but I'm still trying to push like the big picture of like, you're not only doing this for yourself, but you're doing this for the future generations, your kids, because they're all going to be looking up to you, and they're going to be looking up to your masculine energy, because you didn't get it, you didn't receive it, but now you know what to change, what you can do differently, because now we all see the problem. So that's a big thing that I'm trying to teach all my guys in my group, and we talked about this yesterday for like a good 3 hours to all the dudes. But
tons of podcast episodes. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yep.
It's pretty rare for like an 18-year-old kid to like
19.
think about family. But
well,
bro, I respect that.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing I was saying to the guys there was, eventually, like there was like 10 guys in that room. Everyone in that room, all guys, are eventually going to start families, are eventually going to have kids. And when they do that, one, they're going to need to have the finances in order to support that. And the second one is they're going to have to be the kind of guy who can set a good example for their kids. So both of those things they're going to have to do in order to start a family, which they're going to do anyway. So why wait, right? Like if they're sitting around smoking weed all day, they're sitting around jacking off, if they're sitting around not doing, like, would they look up to themselves? Is like the real question they should ask, right? And if the answer is no, then just do it now. Just get it done now, because you're going to have to do it eventually. So that's the way I saw it.
It's a good attitude.
yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of guys are going to do or become better versions of themselves to get women or for selfish needs, like just to make money, get the girls, get the power, get the success. But the big picture overall is like, what's going to carry on those things? Like you have to build or create. So either you create a business or you create children. That's like the easiest way of creating like a life, And that's going to carry on like much longer than I think like your business and stuff.
Legacy is important, man. Legacy is really important, and I think that you could say that that's one of the reasons the West kind of lost its way, is that people stopped thinking about the family and legacy, and they became a lot more selfish and short-minded in their thinking.
100%. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm trying to teach young guys is like, because I already understand women, so I'm not really interested in like the whole women thing, so I'm trying to move out of the teaching guys about women, but it keeps coming back. The girl problems always come back with so many dudes. I'm like, bruh, come on, just watch my videos, listen to the podcast.
It's because it's one of the most like frustrating aspects to a lot of guys' lives, not just in terms of like not being able to get sex. That's obviously one big frustration for a lot of younger guys, is just not being able to get sex. The second one is not having peaceful relationships and like harmonious relationships, complementary relationships with their woman. Because a lot of guys end up with a dynamic which is bad. Like a lot of guys end up in a relationship dynamic which is basically them putting up with bullshit and having their happiness eroded in exchange for a little bit of pussy here and there. That is the average relationship in the Western world, and that should not be the case. Your women should be an asset to your life. Like every woman I am in a relationship with, I genuinely love being around them. They make me happy. They bring me peace. They make my life better, and I make their life better. It's a win-win. That's how it should be. But yeah, we have a bit of work to do to help every guy get to that point.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how many so we already know divorce rates are huge, right? The marriage rates are even lower. But even looking at these marriages, like people that are still together, their relationships are not like that great. You don't want to. Like how many times do you see like a couple on the street and you're like, I want to be like that, or I want to have a relationship like that? It's super rare, like less than 3%, less than 1%, easily.
I think that's something I try to strive for. Is like, would I want, like, if I was a younger guy and I looked at what I'm doing, like, would I want to replicate my life? And that's why I especially I've started speaking up more about the fact that I have multiple girlfriends and they're aware of that. Because if I was younger and some dude told me that, I'd be like, what the fuck? I would have never comprehended that as a possibility. And it's kind of like was it 5 minute mile, 4 minute mile? You ever heard 4 minute mile?
No one knew it was possible until it happened.
Exactly. Until you see someone else doing it, you don't even comprehend that it's a possibility. And I think that's really, really important to show guys, yo, this is.
So going back to what you're saying.
What was I saying? I was saying, setting an example and putting that
Image in young kids.
Showing guys a reality that they wouldn't have even thought was possible is very, very important. Like the 4 minute mile, where once you've seen it done, you have the faith in yourself that you can actually replicate it. I mean, for me, that actually happened. I have a friend back in Australia who has like a homestead. And he has like 5 BDSM wives, basically, and they all live together, and they have fun, basically. But to me, like when I saw that, I was like, and like they're happy, man, like super happy. Mm-hmm. And when I first saw that, I was like, damn,
that's beautiful.
That's beautiful, and I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna replicate that.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, it's like, why would you want to live an ordinary life, man? I don't understand why you want to be ordinary. Like, fuck that. Like, just one of my favorite things in life is to prove people wrong. Yep. So if someone says to me, that's like, if I have these unrealistic expectations of what I'm trying to accomplish, I might not hit that target, but I'm gonna fall somewhere like around it. Yep. So whatever I pull off will still be like outrageous by comparison to the average person's life. So, and I just love being able to shove it in someone's face, man, and being like, they're like, oh, you couldn't do that. Oh, really? Watch me.
Yeah,
it's the best
100%.
feeling, man. The best feeling.
It is, especially when they come back and they realize they're wrong and they come back for asking for help. Dude, it's awesome.
They've got to humble themselves.
Yeah, 100%. That's one thing I noticed is like a lot of young guys, they look up to guys like you or older guys, and they're like, I can't be that until I'm older. So hopefully that's why I'm trying to inspire younger guys that, hey, you can meet guys like you can actually build yourself up now. You can start learning about women now. You don't have to be older to do this stuff. Like,
absolutely.
So
absolutely, man. Like I was a late bloomer with all this stuff, to be perfectly honest, man. Mm-hmm. Like I'm 36. I was Bluepill when I was younger. I had to go through a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes to get to understand like the way the world really works to get to where I'm at now. You don't have to take that long, man. If you're 18 and you got the shit figured out, good. Like, you're way better off than when I was 18. So that's like, yeah, it doesn't need to be like you'll only be successful and you can only pull this stuff off when you get to your 30s. If you can pull it off now, pull it off, man. Do it.
100%. Yeah, that's the one thing is so many guys are so surprised. Like when people find out my age, like on the podcast, on the whatever podcast, they're like, damn, this guy's speaking facts, And then I say my age and they're like, half the people are like, holy fuck, that's awesome. The other guys are like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like just split down the middle. So it's pretty cool, I think. But it's interesting being young and knowing this stuff because it's very hard for me to relate to a lot of younger guys. I relate to more guys like your age and guys who are older who understand this stuff. So it's interesting trying to find dudes like my age at my level. So that's why I created this community. It's not that huge because obviously there's not a lot of guys like my age who understand this stuff. But we found dudes. We have dudes in around California and all around the world now. So it's pretty nice, especially when they're all young. So we're all going through the same stuff, and yeah, it's great.
I love that. Yeah, what you're doing is really, really powerful. Like younger guys need a community like that, and we talked about this before off camera. Like the War Room is it's in my opinion, War Room is literally the best men's organization on the face of the planet. Like it's the best networking organization, business organization. You can solve any problem, any question, anything you have any curiosity about or need to know about. The knowledge is there within the War Room. There's always an expert at whatever the hell you need help with. But it's that the price of it is a bit prohibitive to a lot of younger guys, unfortunately. But that's more of it's a feature, not a bug. So it's really, really good to see you guys building a community for younger guys like that where they can start to like level up and be surrounded by other like-minded guys.
Obviously, we're going to change the fucking world just by inspiring people and helping dudes out.
And connecting them and connecting like-minded men together. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's not the hard part. That's the most important part, I think, is because men in isolation can't really do much. And I was like, before I joined the War Room, there was literally like one other guy I'd met in my entire life who thought the way I think. And then I joined the War Room and they're like, oh, there's 2,000 of them. This is where they are. Finally, I found them. And I found brothers, and easily one of the most impactful decisions of my entire life was to join that organization, because it's harder to find men who think the way we think, which you've discovered with your group. And so, yeah, you've got to kind of take advantage of the internet age we live in to try and track those guys down and be around them.
100%. Yeah, because when I first started the podcast, when we first started learning about this stuff, it was just me and my brother Nathan, and we whenever we saw, like, the first time watching Andrew and Tristan Tate, which was like 3 years ago, I showed him, and like, dude, they're just like us. Like, we gotta find more dudes. And the funny thing was, I never knew there were more guys like that until I started creating more videos and creating more content. Then you guys started popping up on my feed. You guys started reaching out to me. I started DMing you. Or other guys started DMing me. Like, I got connected with Thomas. So yeah, just by me speaking my truth out to the world, basically I'm telling the universe that, hey, this is what I want. And this is what, and like attracts like at the end of the day. So just by speaking your truth and living who you are, it's going to help.
I secretly hate that phrase.
Which one?
Speaking your truth.
It is the truth.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. I just say you're speaking my truth.
Because speaking your truth is some bullshit that feminists fucking made up. So stop saying that.
Yeah, okay.
Say the truth.
Deal, okay. But what's one thing that you also suggest for guys who don't have money when they're young, and what's some easy things that they could do?
I mean, get around other guys, because you'd be live with other like-minded guys, because you can pull your resources together, save money if you don't have much money, and you can compete with each other in a good, positive way to help each other level up. Being that crucible, you need that as a young man. You need that to be forged. That pressure and that competition is super, super important for men. And that's definitely something I missed out on as a younger man, was that someone telling me, like, yo, like, you need to compete, like, because life's competition. Stop pretending like we live in a fairy tale, man. Like, life is competition, especially as a man. You're not going to get taken care of unless you take care of yourself. And surrounding yourself with other guys and pushing each other in that way, be it to be in better shape, be it to be, more financially successful, to go out and, like, scout the beaches here in California and hit on some cuties, whatever it is. Surrounding yourself with other guys like that it's free. You just have to find somebody who's kind of, the only challenging part is finding someone who's basically on your level. But if your level is like down here, that ain't actually that hard.
Right. Yeah,
once you start leveling up, it becomes harder to find like-minded guys who are on your level and on the same trajectory. Yeah. But if you're starting out, it's actually easy to find them.
100%. And what's one? I noticed a lot of guys in my group yesterday. The one thing that they're dealing with was, I guess, self-limiting beliefs, or communication, and how they speak to the world and how they speak to themselves, and how that becomes a reality.
Yeah, that's something I learned off Andrew Tate, was that, like, every word out of your mouth is self-hypnosis. It's super important. It's super true, because, like, your words dictate your subconscious beliefs. So how you speak about yourself is really important. And I want to make a point here. I don't mean that you need to you should bullshit yourself. I do see a few guys, young guys especially, running around trying to basically copy Andrew and try to pretend that they're Andrew, like version 2.0 at like 18 years old. That's not the right thing to do. Like, you want to be authentically yourself. You don't want to be a copy of somebody else. And there's a reason that he can speak with such bravado, is because he's actually accomplished something, and he's gone through trials and tribulations as a young man. So understand that you can speak positively about yourself, and you can speak affirmation, let's say, without being full of shit, without coming across. Because this is the problem I have. I see a lot of guys trying to convince themselves that they're the man, trying to talk themselves into self-belief, and that's a little bit different. Like, I can believe in myself and still see where I need to improve, and still be humble enough to identify my own weaknesses and where I need to improve, but also at the same time identify my strengths and be proud of my strengths and what I can have accomplished and what I'm very, very good at, and focus on that and talk that into existence.
Right. So it's just the difference between being, like, super delusional and just understanding reality. Because the reality is, like, if you're going to perform better when you view yourself as a catch, or you view yourself as better or more confident, But yeah, you don't want to be too delusional to where you don't want to better yourself. Like you think you're a 10, you don't have any improvement.
Because women have that delusion, you know, like that. Like I'm perfect. There's nothing to improve about myself. Is literally the wrong way of thinking about it. You know, there's this weird paradox with super successful people, in that they have belief that if I get this correctly, it's like they have a belief that they are special and that they can accomplish anything they set their mind to, while simultaneously being like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yes.
a sort of a feeling of like insecurity that they or like a little bit of an imposter syndrome. So and that is actually a super healthy paradoxical dynamic, which does lead to is proven to lead to success long term, consistently. So yeah, speaking confidently about yourself, but also understanding where you need to like improve, because otherwise you're never like, if you sit there delusionally, two things. If you sit there delusionally, like saying like I'm a 10 out of 10, I'm the best as possibly is. One,
Chick on the podcast.
Yeah, the
Right.
fat chick on the podcast.
okay, right? See, then you become a fat chick on a podcast. But one, you stop any potential for growth, and two, you just make people not want to be around you. You just become that douchebag that no one wants to hang out with. Really, people can recognize that very, very quickly. Anyone with an ounce of like social skills and social like emotional intelligence will be like, this guy's full of shit. You know, and that repels people. But people are genuinely attracted. People are attracted to confidence and high self-esteem, but they're also attracted to like genuineness and honesty. They really are. So if you could be genuinely confident about yourself and about what you are really good at, and look, maybe you're a loser. Maybe nothing that you're doing is good. Maybe you're not good at anything. Okay, then you can derive your self-esteem from taking action. Right?
Right.
If I'm a fat piece of shit, but I hit the gym today, that should give you self-esteem. Okay? Because you're taking the action towards the improvement.
Right.
It's like it's a never-ending goal as well. Like you're always constantly chasing that.
So is that where you draw the line between positively speaking about yourself and being full of shit? Is the line between that taking action? Is that how you differentiate it?
Absolutely, yes.
Gotcha.
Like because you can, I personally derive my self-esteem from the little things I do every day. If I've gone through a day and I haven't done the things I need to do, I will feel like a piece of shit. Rightfully so. I should feel like a piece of shit for not fucking doing, X, Y, Z. Yep. You know? So I think that's a healthy relationship with your own self-esteem.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the one thing I see is like, yeah, you don't want to become so self-deluded where you're not taking any action. And that's one thing that Andrew talks about as well is like you can't just listen to podcasts for like motivation and watch YouTube videos for motivation and then not take action. There's like no point at all. And like even taking action without any information is still better than not taking action and knowing what you need to do in the first place.
That is absolutely true. Yeah. One of my early on, like a really great piece of advice I got was like, for every hour of content you consume on the internet, you should spend at least 2 hours taking action of some kind. So, yeah, that's a real practical like idiom to live by.
Yeah, whenever I learn something new, like in my business, or I watch a new video, or someone gives me advice on what I should do for my website or my YouTube videos, I apply it like right then and there. Not only because I want to see if it works, but I want to actually apply and learn what I just learned. Especially if I think, oh, this might work. It worked for them. I'm gonna apply it, see if it works. Same thing with girls. If I see, hey, you should try this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna see if it works or not. And that's the biggest thing guys should be doing.
So how do you apply that rule, the 2 hours of action for every 1 hour of content? How do you apply that in your life?
Well, let's say, like, okay, if I like looked up in like a new workout regime on I watched one of Brandon Carter's videos or something, right? And he's like, here's how you get six-pack abs. All right, cool. Well, then I'm gonna like, rather than like watching another video the next day, I'll hit the gym for half an hour today, tomorrow, the day after before I watch another video, right? So it's 2 hours of action compared to the 1 hour of like consuming my time with watching content or whatever. Nice. Or likewise, like I watch like a 30-minute video on, email marketing and how to implement like some kind of email marketing technique. Great. Then I spend the next day sitting down in front of my computer implementing the damn thing. Yeah.
That's one thing I don't understand. Like when guys love football and basketball, but they don't even play it themselves.
That confuses the fuck out of me. I've never obviously I have watched professional sports and stuff as a kid, and I've gone to like games and stuff, but I always would prefer to play the thing than sit there and watch someone else play.
I said that on the podcast, like, if you just watch football, you're gay. And then everyone got so mad. All these dudes watching football, they're like, oh, dude, you know what you're talking about? You're 19 years old. And
Americans
I'm like,
get triggered by
get
that. They
salty.
really, really, really hate that. You get that in Australia too, man. Like Australian football, slightly different sport. But they get No, every American thinks Australian football is rugby. It's a totally different sport.
Really?
It's like Gaelic football. If you have to Google AFL football, then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
One of the greatest sport in the world. But you get all these dudes who like live and breathe like with their jersey on, and like they get emotional and angry at their team losing. I'm like, bro, you weren't on the fucking field. What are you getting angry over? Like, why is your emotions tied into the success of an athlete who doesn't give a crap about you, doesn't even know you exist? You literally pay his salary. Your obsession and fanaticism for that team is the reason he lives an amazing, lavish lifestyle, and you're a piece of shit who just sits on a couch watching fucking football.
Yeah,
it's retarded.
another alternative is to watch like combat sports and actually apply the moves that you learn in combat sports, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing. Like that's what I do. Is if I learn a new jiu-jitsu move, all right, I have mats, so fucking me and Nathan just try out the move, see if it works,
Great.
and that's it. So that's super important.
And that's what I was doing with my boxing match. Like I was literally training twice a day, every day for like 2 months. But it was also like I'd go home, I'd watch like maybe like 30 minutes of like a Mike Tyson. I'd try to break down like his training stuff. Or I'd watch some fight highlights. I'm like, okay, what's he doing? And then I'd try to implement something next day in training. Same exact principle. Right.
Yeah, I know you talk a lot about, like, you advise men to not watch porn, and it's almost as if watching someone else play a sport rather than doing it yourself, it's the same thing. You're getting satisfaction based upon someone else accomplishing something that you want to accomplish. Do you have any thoughts on that? Yeah,
Cucks and sex cucks.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, you literally, if you think about it, you're literally training yourself to be a cuck because you're watching somebody. Like the technical argument I could make, unless it's POV pornography, and then you can pretend it's your dick. But POV football, yeah, like VR football goggles or some shit. But really, you're watching somebody else fuck, and it's like another dude fuck a woman. It's like training yourself to be a cuck in a way.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not like I don't regret doing it as a career because it was a shitload of fun for me. But that's my point. Like, I'm the one getting my dick sucked, and I'm the one getting paid.
Right.
Like, you don't have to watch it. I ain't putting a gun to your fucking head and saying jerk off. No one's doing that. So I don't see why everyone gets so like obsessed about it. Like, yeah, like pornography's been around for forever. It's been around literally forever. Now I do think that it was way better when it was just like DVDs and shit, or VHS, like tapes and shit in an adult store. You had to be over 18 to access it. You had to go into a shop, have proof of ID or whatever, to purchase like a little DVD or some shit, and then you go home and like that shit, it's your fapping material or whatever the hell, or you and your or even better, like you and your wife or you and your girlfriend like watch it together and enjoy it or some shit. Maybe that gets her turned on to have a threesome. Good, get another girl in. Good for you. But that's better than what we have now, where it's just unlimited access on your phone, 24/7. Anyone of any age can get access to it. Like, people are watching, like, dudes are getting their first exposure to porn at like 13 years of age. It's fucking nuts.
Well, it's all done on purpose, though.
Bro, yeah, it's fucked. It's truly and utterly fucked. Yeah, it's cat's out of the bag though, man. It's really hard to like put that genie back in the bottle. You know what I'm saying? So guys, unfortunately, have to be a lot more disciplined about that because it's a really primal urge for guys to want to chase that down the rabbit hole. But yeah, unfortunately, you have to be a lot more mentally disciplined than I had to be when I was younger, because all I had was like a magazine that I found at like the trash, like page 54, some chick in like a bra. Like, that was the fapping material for like my entire teenage years. Like, it was a lot simpler time.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like there's like a balance between everything is like harder and / easier for guys nowadays. There's like everything's kind of like flipped. Like so some things are harder for guys nowadays. Yeah. Some things are easier. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, and having a bi girlfriend definitely helps. Like, I put one of my girlfriends on Tinder and Hinge just to get lesbians or girls who are bi. Yeah, right.
That's the easiest setup. Like, women are the best wingmen.
What's up, boys? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and podcast with Stirling. If you guys want to see my first ever podcast with Stirling that I did almost 2 years ago, I'll link that in the description down below of this video. But we also have some bonus clips as well for all the members inside of my community. We teach guys how to better themselves. We also offer coaching, mentorship, and a bunch of other videos, including the bonus clips of this one. So if you guys want to see that, go subscribe. Link will be down below as well.